Supervisors, please take your seats. Could you join me in the pledge, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag. Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call the supervisors, please. I am aware of Supervisor Underhill not being here tonight. I can't explain the other three, but it looks like we have 24 in attendance. Citizen comments. Anyone wishing to address the board? Pull that microphone right up to you. State your name and address, please.
Mike Skolitsky, 1415 97th Avenue. I enjoy going to sporting events, band concerts, movies. I don't always enjoy having to come down to the county board meeting, but as a citizen and more importantly a taxpayer, I feel compelled to do so. One of the primary roles of the county board is to oversee county government. And each one of you was elected to represent the taxpayers that put you into office. For the past 2 years, if not longer than that, the economy of the United States and Wisconsin has been recessionary, if not stagnant, punctuated with double-digit unemployment, anemic private sector growth, and massive public debts and deficits. Despite this weak economy, the Kenosha County Board found it acceptable to raise taxes both years. And at 1.88% this year, and we decided to add another $12 million to our overall debt structure. Taxes cannot be reduced in this county until the debt is eliminated. But that brings me to my point. I see in the Kenosha News a big spread, an article about the KD Park. So I was able to get a hold of it, the proposal. It's 72 pages long. So obviously I haven't had all that time to go through all the details. But there's an extensive amount of information in here. This, as it's stated in the proposal, this park will function as a life-enhancing instrument of change for the community. It will be designed and developed to provide two distinct yet connected experiences: education and recreation. Sustainable living is the principle that integrates and unifies these two experiences. Not sure what that all means, but I'm certain that a consultant put that together. If you looked up sustainable living, it says it's a lifestyle that attempts to reduce an individual or society's use of the Earth's natural resources and his or her own resources. Well, that's all well and good, but when we're carrying the debt that we are, with the tax burden we are, a park of this nature doesn't seem to fit the long-term plans that we should be having within the county. This park apparently will also, as stated in here, serve as an instrument of change for our community. It is further recognized that to optimize positive lifestyle and behavioral changes, we must create an immersion experience. That's all in the text here. I ask you, since when has it become county government's responsibility to create instruments of change? You are representing the taxpayers. I don't remember ever asking for an instrument of change, but perhaps some of your constituents have. The county has already got a golf operation that lost $250,000 this year, and now we're potentially proposing to spend another $11 to $14 million on a park, excluding the cost of many of the amenities that might go in there, let alone the cost of maintenance to the taxpayers for long term. There are some basic functions that county government should provide: police protection, fire protection, emergency medical protection, road maintenance, and plowing. I don't think creating instruments of change is in that list, at least not from my perspective as a taxpayer. I've spoken to a number of my neighbors and fellow citizens that are taxpayers, and I've asked them, I said, if you were going to build a park what the cost might be. Not a single one of them approached $11 to $14 million. The administration appears more than capable of any new ways to waste taxpayer monies, and it is your job to prevent these expenditures and find ways to create private sector jobs, eliminate debt, and reduce taxes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the board? Any other citizen comments? Seeing no one else approaching the podium, citizen comments are closed. Announcements of the chairman. I have none other than to apparently Supervisor Gentz called in, is on vacation as well, so I apologize for missing that. Supervisor reports. Supervisor O'Day.
Thank you, Chairman. On your desk there's a one-sheet report, and it should have been more than one sheet. I'm sorry about that tonight. On Brookside, because it references there's some other pages that you're going to need to look at. Item 4 on there is estimated net revenue of $48,952 at this time, but there's going to be an adjustment made for the health insurance. This is for 2011 now, which would increase expenses by approximately $150,000 to $250,000, depending on the final calculation, which hasn't been done yet by the Finance Department. However, and also we reported in October 1st, the Medicare rates were decreased that we got back from the federal government by 14%, which would have created a possible $250,000 deficit for last quarter of 2011. Because teamwork to choose the most appropriate patient mix to achieve a sound financial outcome, along with increased staff education, to ensure we are being reimbursed for all activities performed with the residents, that's being avoided. The potential deficit is previously predicted will not exist. Our average Medicare census for the year was 28.1. We budgeted for 29. So we're pleased to have that outcome, and it's as close to the budget as we could get. Thank you. And I'm going to make sure you get the other pages either emailed or on the desk for the next meeting.
Thank you. Supervisor Gentz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Joint Services Committee met last Tuesday, and we had the new director, Tom Gentner, give us an update presentation on the public safety software that we're looking into. We have instructed him as a board to bring that to the Finance Committee for an update in the near future. So look forward to that, and that was really all that our meeting was. So thank you very much.
It's my understanding you're going out for an RFP, is that right? Is that what you just said? Or did you not add that?
We're working towards that, yes. Mm-hmm.
So you have selected the system then, or not?
No,
so the RFP will be to help select the
correct,
system.
Correct. And we have had input from Marty Laycock from our IT, from from our purchasing agent as well, so, and finance. So we are preparing that, finalizing the RFP, and then we will be sending that out. But we do want to give an update to everybody on the board, so feel free to come to that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Brunig.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Fema Maps have been delivered to the municipalities. Kenosha County itself, the Department of Planning and Development, will be sending out approximately 30 letters to the residents. These are just the ones from the towns. The village of Pleasant Prairie and the other villages will need to take care of their own people that they need to contact. The reason why we're doing this is we have until June 19th, which is our drop dead deadline. These people need to be notified that they are now in the FEMA floodplain. If they do not purchase flood insurance prior to that deadline, they will not have it, and it is required. So if they purchase it prior to June 19th, they will be under a grandfather clause, which will help them immensely with the amount of money that they'll have to spend on this flood insurance. So we encourage everyone to get in touch with the department and find out who is actually in their district, and maybe kind of help them out if they can by contacting these people and making sure that they are aware of this, that they do need to contact FEMA and get their flood insurance set up before that deadline. That was the first thing. Also on your desk is a invitation to the Food, Wine, Beer, and Music Festival that is being held on March 10th It's on a Saturday night at the Parkway Chateau and the Broad Stop. This is a benefit that is being put on for Imagine Kenosha. It's a nonprofit organization in Bristol that is, they do tutoring for at-risk kids. The bus goes around and picks up the kids from the different schools and takes them over there right after school and helps them with their schoolwork. There is going to be beer, wine, and food from the local restaurants that will be served there from 5 to 7, and then from 8 o'clock to 11 will be the band that will be on. Tickets are $25, and I, of course, am selling them. So this is after the primary. Great time to do some politicking. So come on out. Thank you.
The FEMA maps, we've been waiting an awful long time for these maps, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Probably about 7 years.
So 7 years in the waiting, and residents who may be in the new map boundaries have, what does it amount to, 3 months, 4 months to buy flood insurance?
Yes.
Seems a little strange to me.
Yes, it is.
Is that a typical deadline? Has it been extended? Is it
That is
shortened?
that is a typical deadline.
Typical deadline. You should work to get that changed.
I'll get right on that.
Anyone else? Seeing no other lights.
County Executive Appointments, Linda L. Gush to serve on the Kenosha County Aging and Disability Resource Center Board.
Refer to Human Services Committee.
25, Douglas James McElmurray to serve on the Kenosha County Local Emergency Planning Committee.
Refer to Judiciary and Law.
New Business Ordinance 16 from Supervisor Terry Rose, an ordinance to amend Chapter 10 of the Municipal Code of Kenosha County entitled County Parks.
Refer to Public Works Facilities Committee. For clarification, this does not constitute the initial reading, and I confirm that with Corporation Counsel, so it'll be referred to committee.
Resolution 1 reading 91 from Human Services Committee, a resolution to approve the reappointment of Jack Rose to the Kenosha County Aging and Disability Resource Center Board, submitted by Noble, yes. Gens, yes. Darren Decker, yes. Arrington, yes. Kubicki, yes.
Supervisor Noble.
I move resolution number 91.
Resolution 91, moved by Supervisor Noble, second by Supervisor Jeff Gentz. Supervisor Noble.
This is a reappointment for Mr. Jack Rose. He has been the co-chair of the Aging and Disability Resource Center Board, and is a very active member. The committee reviewed the appointment and unanimously concurred with his appointment.
Anyone on the appointment? Seeing no lights, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Ordinance 92 from Human Services Committee, a resolution to approve the reappointment of James Schmidt to the Veteran Service Commission. Noble, yes. Gens, yes. Celebrate, excused. Decker, yes. Arrington, yes. Kubicki, yes. Rose, excused.
Supervisor Noble.
I move resolution number 92.
Resolution 92, moved by Noble, seconded by Supervisor Decker. Supervisor Noble.
Once again, this is a reappointment to the Veteran Service Commission. This would be Mr. Schmidt's final term on the commission. He served as the chairman of the commission for the past 2 terms. He's an officer of the American Legion Post, and he is a retired, as well as served in the U.S. Navy from 1964 to 1967. The committee reviewed his appointment and unanimously approved it, recommends it to the county board.
Anyone on the appointment? Resolution 92. Seeing no lights, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Resolution 93 from Human Service Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Hershel Riles to the Kenosha County Commission on Aging. Noble, yes. Gens, yes. Celebrate, excused. Decker, yes. Arrington, yes. Kubicki, yes. Rose, excused.
Supervisor Noble.
I move resolution number 93.
Resolution 93, moved by Noble, seconded by Supervisor Arrington. Supervisor Noble.
Mr. Riles is a new appointment to the Committee on Aging. He's a licensed pharmacist, and he's retired from the Department of Veterans Affairs. He has lived in Kenosha since 1994 and is active with several organizations, including the VFW and the Retired Federal Employees. He was appeared before the committee. He was interviewed and questioned by the committee, and we unanimously endorsed his appointment.
Anyone on Resolution 93? Seeing no lights, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Claim 21, Eddie Dwayne Walker, improper medical attention while incarcerated.
Board of Corporation Counsel.
Approval of the January 17th, 2012 minutes by Supervisor Clark.
Supervisor Clark.
I moved the minutes, but I have one comment. Wasn't it our last meeting that we had the two presentations?
Yes.
Should that be noted anywhere in the minutes that we had a presentation?
It is under, right past citizens' comments.
It's just under citizen comments. References Ms. Winnett making the presentation, not,
If the minutes could reflect, and perhaps that they would have presentations or something like that on lines with our agenda,
all right, we will make that change.
I would move approval subject to those changes.
Anyone on the question? Seconded by Supervisor Michael. Anyone on the question? All those in favor of the minutes as amended signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Motion adjourned by Brunig, seconded by Rose. All those in favor signify by saying aye. We're adjourned.